These 4 steps will set the foundation to change your life in 4 months. First of all, I'm no guru. I'm just a guy who made a decision 2 years ago to change his life, and this is what I did in those first 4 months. The first realization that I had that made me make a decision to change was as I was tired of the negative self-talk, the negative image that I was portraying to myself and to others. And I realized that this was from past trauma, from an upbringing, from just bad environments. And we're going to talk about all those things and how they kind of go forward with everything. So the first thing that I noticed is I always made the issue bigger than it really was. Procrastination, um, just downplaying my situation and not realizing some of the opportunities that I had, just talking down to myself and portraying a negative mindset that just kind of bled outwards. And I got really tired of that. And because of all that, I found I was depressed. I was unhappy with my life and my situations, and I just couldn't enjoy things anymore. So the first thing that I did was I just basically wrote down a list of what toxic or negative things that I was putting inside my mind, whether it be music, movies, TV shows, friends, conversations with the wrong people, or just in my own self image and my own self thought. And one of the things was that I decided to do was to not talk bad about myself no more, even internally. I had to make a decision that every time those kind of thoughts came up or that kind of internal dialogue came up, that I had to correct myself. And I did that throughout this whole entire time for 4 months. And over the course of those 4 months, I noticed that not only did I not talk bad about myself no more, I wouldn't allow anyone else to talk bad about myself. I wouldn't be the butt of the joke. I wouldn't tolerate, you know, somebody saying that, oh, you're just like this, you're just like that, or whatever. And not in a, we got to go tit for tat, but just a way of, I'm not going to tolerate it no more. And I'm going to show you the change without actually telling you. Sometimes you actually have to portray it and do it yourself and everything. So the second step was actually what propelled me further. And it was a little bit boring at first, but after seeing it long term, it really helped out and it's going to help you out. So what that is you have to try to be future you. And what I mean by that is what I did personally is I wanted to be, I was single at the time. I wanted to, find someone, get married, start having kids, have a family, have a big old house and everything. That was my dream. That was what I was very looking forward to at that time. And what I did was I try to imagine in my head what kind of husband I would be, what kind of father I would be, what kind of friend I would be, what kind of, you know, mentor to certain people that I would be. And I kind of backtracked that and just, reverse engineered it and was like, what does this dream me look like? What does he do? What does he, how does he talk? What does he read? What does he watch? How does he portray himself? What does he do in his free time? What does he not do? What does he tolerate? What does he not tolerate? And I kind of just reverse engineered, the dream me. And I just, it took several weeks, but I just did it over the course of this time. And after finding the easiest thing to do, which at that time was to not talk negatively about myself and not allow others to talk negatively about myself, and say I can't do this, I can't do that, or whatever it was. I slowly started realizing that I'm taking these steps and becoming this future me. And there was other things, and you're always going to change what decisions and ideas or thoughts or goals or whatever you have. And trust me, those things changed over the past 2 years. But I slowly started realizing, holy crap, I'm actually becoming this future me, this dream me that I had kind of designed in my own mind over, you know, the time that I was trying to change my life a few years ago. So the third step is actually kind of hand in hand with the first two steps. So you have to change your environment. For me personally, I was in a very negative workspace. My friends and people that were around me were very negative. They were in a more of a lack mindset. You know, they didn't have enough money, they didn't have enough time home, they didn't have enough of this or that and everything. And I had to try to create some space between me and those people. And sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you have to be in those, around those people and everything. Like I said, some of those people were my coworkers, and at the time I couldn't find a better job, so I was kind of stuck around these negative people. And I slowly found out that I could create this space between me and these people, even though they were just a few feet away from me working. Um, I didn't allow them to sabotage what I was trying to do. And over time, other people actually started noticing these changes, and they actually started commenting towards me of like, wow, man, like just a few months ago, you were so negative and you were this and you were that and everything. And it actually caused me to get a promotion at that job. That job still wasn't the best thing in the world, but at the time I was very proud of that. So I got promoted up a little bit because of me taking those first 3 to 4 months and creating these steps and changing my life. And I noticed a tremendous change in that. And because of that, it's actually why I started this channel and why I started social media, trying to get this message out there and talk to people and guide people to let them know that everybody can do it. It's very possible. There's just small things that you can do daily in and out that will make a tremendous impact over long term compounding gains. So yeah, you got to change your environment. If you can't change your environment at that current time, you just have to create space, um, and that can be internally and everything. People talk to you because some things that I had to realize too is like you can say these things to me or just around me. I don't have to accept them. That was the biggest key takeaway for me was I don't have to accept your negative thoughts or your negative ideas and everything about whatever's going on in your life or in our workspace or whatever. I don't have to accept that. I can make things differently because we can have the exact same 8 hours in a day and have the exact same treatment, and I can still walk away learning a different lesson. I can still walk away experiencing something a little bit differently, or just walk away and not let it affect me because it wasn't just that big of a deal. So yeah, all 40 steps is going to be super boring. You're going to have to constantly practice this. You're going to have to constantly tell yourself that this is for the better and everything. But the big key takeaway is figure out what you don't like, what you won't tolerate no more, and then also figure out what future you will do. The person in 6 months, the person in 2 years, the person in 10 years, what are they going to look like? What are they going to do? Because trust me, you can get there. It's super possible, and it's actually super easy. And just figure out what they do and how they act and what kind of person they are, and work it backwards, and just take that step by step by step, and you will get there, whatever your goals are in life. Um, but it's going to be boring. It's going to be boring. You're going to have to just keep telling yourself that this isn't what I do no more. This isn't what I tolerate no more. This isn't what I will allow anymore. These are the habits that the new me takes, that I want to take. These are the habits that are going to lead me to my goals. Whatever you have to tell yourself, but it's going to be boring, and you're going to have to just push through. But I promise you, it's going to be worth it. So yeah, what made me make this decision was just overall, I just couldn't take it no more. I couldn't complain. I couldn't wait for change to happen. I finally woke up one day and said, I'm done feeling like this. I'm done with all this weight on my shoulders. I got to do something because I can't keep living like this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm stuck in the mud. And I realized through this time that a lot of it was my upbringing. I grew up very, very poor. We didn't have really anything growing up. So that carried on into adult life, and I had a lack mindset from just growing up. I was around friends who also grew up very poor. I was around people. I worked with people who grew up, or because of the job that I was at the time, was just a terrible job, or the job I was at the time was just such a terrible job that everybody around me was in this lack, negative, toxic, it can't happen kind of mindset. And I hated it. It destroyed everything about me because I had all these big, big dreams. And over the course of those 4 months, the first 90 days, excuse me, the first 30 days, I realized I wasn't talking bad about myself no more. I go from talking bad about myself constantly to I might have a bad day once or twice in those first 30 days, like a real bad down in the dumps day. But overall, my past month was fairly decent. Well, with 60 months, I realized I might have a bad half a day, maybe 2 or 3 hours that I was, kind of stuck in the mud or whatever for a couple of hours, and then I kind of got over it and moved forward and everything. It was just I had a little bad moment. After the first 90 days, man, it was like water off a duck's back. It was just, I might be upset for 10, 15 minutes when something drastic happens, something like, monstrous. And everybody's like, how'd you get over it? And I was like, oh, it is what it is, you know? And these are just traits that I learned to pick up. And now, 2 years down the road, I'm just like, it is what it is. Can we fix it? Yes. Okay, cool. It's not a big of a deal no more. But in the past, oh my God, it was the worst thing ever. So now it's just like, oh, we can fix it, move forward. So I promise you, if you follow these 4 steps and everything, just figure out, what you want, how your future you is going to look. And then after 30 days of being consistent, compare it. Hey, am I doing this anymore? Has it changed at least? Because it's not going to be perfect. Not the first 30 days. Maybe not the first 60 days. But 90 days in, you're going to notice a really, really positive change. And it's going to be almost impossible to go back. It's almost impossible after 90 days to go backwards after you do this. I promise you. So just do these steps and then watch it 30 days in, 60 days in, 90 days in. Come back, comment in this video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. And let me know what happens after your first 30, 60, and 90 days. I hope you enjoy this. Goodbye.